I work in the business of changing lives. I don't save souls for a living. I don't have the skills to do that. So, in the case of Sean Diddy Combs, new security video shows that he was arrested last week in a Manhattan hotel. Did you see the shocking new turn in the Star scandals? Think about this. While Diddy was in jail, Marjorie Harvey filed for divorce from Steve Harvey at the same time? Random event? That's making some people raise an eyebrow? Everyone on the street seems to be talking about how Steve supposedly sold Lori to Diddy, right? There are a lot of crazy rumors going around that connect the famous TV show and comedian Steve Harvey to Diddy's fall from grace. We are going to break it down, of course. Let's think about what happened and how it all went wrong. First, in case you haven't heard, Diddy, who many people also call Puff Daddy, has been arrested. This isn't just for a small act. The charges against him. There are serious charges such as plot and trafficking, as well as some very scary claims that have shocked everyone in the entertainment business. His problems don't end with him, though. It has an effect on other things. It looks like Diddy is bringing down more people with him as his situation gets worse. Steve Harvey could be one of those people. You did hear that right. Hi, Steve Harvey. The guy who's always been the cute face behind the dad jokes on TV and in films could get caught up in the same storm that's sinking Diddy. Diddy has been a big deal in the entertainment business for years, building an empire with his songs, businesses, and out-of-this-world persona. That being said, there was a darker side to all of that that many of us didn't see. The famous parties Diddy throws. People used to think that these events were the hottest in town, but now we know that they were just crazy, shady get-togethers where anything could happen. And can you guess who has been linked to some of these expensive affairs? Yes, Steve Harvey. That being said, Steve Harvey is known for his sharp suits, moving talks, and love for his family. His whole business is based on the idea that he made it on his own. From the streets of Cleveland to becoming one of the most liked people in Hollywood. Once rumors started going around that Steve was at one of Diddy's famous parties, fans were shocked. Is it really true? As the group around him falls apart, is Steve Harvey a part of it? People are beginning to wonder if Steve was just a witness during this whole thing. Several people think he knows a lot more than he's letting on. Being charged with such important crimes, it's easy to think that some big names are involved. Diddy doesn't work alone, after all. He has been hanging out with famous people for decades. But why Steve? Why now? Diddy's arrest seems to have let a lot of secrets out, and Steve's name is being linked to all of them. I remember feeling like there was something scary around me, like a monster was waiting to attack. But what's really making things rough is when Marjorie Harvey decided to file for divorce. There's almost too much chance in it, right? Marjorie is already making plans to break up with Steve on the same day that Diddy is arrested. She seems to be trying to get ahead of something big that's about to happen. Some people think Marjorie's move is a smart way to protect her assets, especially since there could be a lot of cases and scandals coming up. Steve is very wealthy, let's face it. His TV shows, book deals, and other businesses are said to have made him worth hundreds of millions of dollars. There will be a lot of lawyers who want to get their hands on that money if the rumors about him being involved with Diddy's mess are true. Things are about to get even more interesting, even though this may be the end of the Diddy story as we know it. The bond between Marjorie and Steve has always looked great, right? As the happy couple walked down the red carpet, they looked like they were straight out of a romance book. Wait a minute. Talks behind their backs for years have said that things weren't as good as they seemed in their relationship. There have been rumors of a split for a long time, even before Diddy was arrested. People just didn't understand how bad things had become. What Marjorie doesn't say has to do with work. Now that Diddy has been arrested, it seems like everything is about to blow up. Several people have said that Marjorie's choice to file for divorce isn't just about ending her marriage, but also about keeping the Harvey empire safe. It makes perfect sense for her to want to protect her share before things get out of hand if Steve's ties to Diddy become public and put her wealth at risk. Now though, things get even more tricky. Several conspiracy ideas say that this divorce might be a move for business reasons. Think about it. What if Steve and Marjorie had been planning this for months because they knew Diddy would be arrested soon? So they might be trying to protect their assets from the potential trouble Steve could get into by getting a divorce now. In other words, all of this could be a smart way for them to keep their money safe from the law. Also, Marjorie has been in trouble before. People who know her background know that she's had some shady relationships in the past. People find it hard to see her as a simple victim because her first two husbands were involved in major crimes. Some might say Marjorie has been getting ready for a time like this her whole life because she knows how to handle tough situations like this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. A friendship that used to seem like the perfect Hollywood fairy tale is at the center of all this trouble. The Harveys have been married for more than 10 years. At first glance, they seem to have everything: fame, money, and a mixed-race family that Steve often talked about in shows. Marjorie was there for him during some of his most important times, and the two of them seemed like an unstoppable power pair. What went wrong then? Did Diddy's arrest end their marriage for good? Or had things been getting worse for a while? It looks like there have been signs of trouble in heaven for a while if you look more closely. In the past few months, Steve has seemed a lot more worried, and rumors say that he and Marjorie are fighting over money. He seems to be putting in more effort at work than ever, which is often a sign that something is wrong at home. No matter what the reason is, the fact that Marjorie filed for divorce the same day Diddy was arrested is not an accident. It's almost like she knew this was going to happen and chose to avoid it. Is it really your fault? If Diddy's name is being dragged through the mud and Steve's name could be involved in the same scandals, Marjorie would do the same thing. She would protect herself and her possessions. There is clearly a criminal investigation going on, and they think there is proof of wrongdoing in one or both of those houses. But here's the catch. There are those who say Marjorie isn't just trying to avoid the consequences. She's had this plan for years. That she's been trying to get out of her marriage to Steve for a while now was said by some. The arrest of Diddy was just the right reason for her to finally move in on him. Take a look. Marjorie can easily break away and say she had nothing to do with Diddy's fall if Steve ends up being linked to it. Still, even if Steve gets away with nothing, she will still take a big chunk of his money. So, does Marjorie really deserve all of this? Or is she just planning to get away with it? There's no way to know for sure, but she's not going to stay. That much is clear. It was brave to file for divorce on the same day Diddy was arrested, and it's getting a lot of attention. There have been rumors that Steve may have been involved with Diddy's bad behavior, which means that this split is only going to get messier. Now let's look at the different ideas that have been put forward about how Steve might be connected to all of this. Some people say Steve went to a few of Diddy's famous parties over the years. Let's just say these weren't your normal celebrity get-togethers. There are rumors about the crazy things that happen behind closed doors. Steve has always kept up a perfect public image, but there are rumors that he might not be as good as he seems. People in this case say that Diddy could be thought of as the Epstein of the rap business. Imagine what would be in the news if Steve was caught doing some of the shocking things that Diddy is linked to. That would be very different from the picture he's worked so hard to build up over the years. Steve's whole career has been built around being the family-friendly guy who gives relationship tips and makes people laugh about everyday things. If people find out that he was in Diddy's inner group, it will instantly change how people think about him. Despite all the drama, Steve Harvey has been able to stay out of the public eye by not publicly linking himself too closely with Diddy. That being said, Cat Williams recently made news when she said that Steve had been giving Diddy his daughter Lori for free. The story is much more complicated than that, though. Some rumors say that Steve and Diddy may have had a relationship in the past. Let's look at this more closely to see if Cat's claims are true. Remember how Cat said that Steve was supposedly having Lori sex? It was brought up that Steve has always loved Lori, even though she's not his actual daughter. For Steve to love Lori so much, it's not wrong, but it was strange how much he seemed to treat her like she was his only child. At one of our yearly father-daughter trips, we went to my favorite Japanese restaurant. I remember him taking her on dates when she was younger. He told me about his relationships and how he had always been there for Lori and loved her no matter what. But things seemed very different when it came to his blood children. He did not seem to care about them as much. He didn't even show up to the graduation of his daughter. Someone close to me told me, I went to high school with the twins even though they were a few years older than me. Everyone always talked about them and everyone was looking at them because of their famous father. It was strange that he wasn't there for such a big event in their lives. Not only the twins felt overlooked, Steve didn't pay his son BR, as much as he should have, the first 16 years of his life. Before I turned 16, I didn't have my dad with me all the time. He also had a second son named Winan who had some very big problems. The police and child protection services even looked into whether Steve hurt the boy physically. Winan told TMZ that Steve hit him with a belt and a paddleboard, the kind that is common in fraternities for hazing. Officers took pictures of the boy's wounds, which showed cuts and bruises on his leg and right hip, according to the police report. Winan called the police and said the beating was so bad that he had trouble going to the toilet for days. Cat's main claim at first was that Steve spent so much time with Lori because he was supposedly getting her ready for something bad. That was pretty much the same thing that other people were saying about Lori. Cat says that this trend is all because Steve is supposed to be trying to match people. Cat Williams also said that Steve had been looking for a reason to get Lori into Diddy's bed, and when Kim Porter died in 2018, he saw his chance. Cat says that Steve took advantage of the fact that Diddy was sad and open to being hurt to bring Lori into the picture. When Kim was living, Lori and Kim were kind of friendly, which probably didn't hurt. So it didn't seem too strange for Lori to comfort her. She even praised Kim on Instagram, writing, having a hard time processing this one. You were so beautiful on the inside and out. When I saw you last, I'm glad I told you how much I loved and missed you. Your spirit was truly unique. You were an angel on earth, and now you are in heaven. Mama Kim, please rest in peace. But after only a few months, Lori stopped calling Kim Mama and started dating her ex. People didn't understand why she thought that was okay. A lot of people don't like her for this, but now Kat is saying that she was a victim and couldn't have stopped dating Diddy. Some fans paid close attention to one thing during all the chaos: Lori's nail paint color. People talked about how her white nails always stood out when she was with Diddy, because, as you know, Cassie had something to say about Diddy's famous parties and white nails. This made a lot of people think that Lori might be another victim of Diddy's antics. Fans could not take their eyes off of Lori whenever she was seen with Diddy. They could not miss her white nail paint. So what does that mean? As it turned out, Cassie said in her case that Diddy really liked white nails. It wasn't just a strange dress choice. Cassie said Diddy made her wear white nail paint because he liked how it looked against the darker skin of the male escorts he put her with. It wasn't just Cassie, though. People began to say that Diddy liked Young Miami just as much as she did because she always had white nails when she was with him. This led to crazy ideas that she might also be involved with Diddy's strange activities. Let's talk about Steve now. Even though he wasn't the one wearing white paint, it's important to remember that Lori dated Diddy after what happened with Cassie. Cassie had already said that Diddy was violent with women. Because Steve has liked Lori in the past, you'd think he'd try to keep her safe from Diddy, right? He always made her feel like his favorite, so it makes sense that he would want to keep her out of trouble. Steve not only didn't stop it, but he's also said to have set up her relationship with Diddy in the first place. Cat Williams says that Steve wasn't just watching, he was also trying to join in. But this is where things get tricky. Steve has been in this business for a long time and knows how to get around. If he was having any kind of relationship with Diddy, he probably did everything he could to hide it. But as Diddy's court problems get worse, more and more people may feel like they need to speak out. That could bring Steve's carefully crafted picture tumbling down around him if it does. Marjorie, on the other hand, is used to controversy and knows how to handle herself in Hollywood. This is a smart move if she's really trying to stay away from Steve before his relationship with Diddy comes to light. She does need to protect her own image, after all. And the last thing she wants is for Steve's problems to bring her down. But there is a catch: Marjorie may not be as good-hearted as she seems. People are starting to doubt her intentions, especially since she's been linked to some bad people in the past. Before she married Steve, Marjorie was linked to some shady people, and some people think that this divorce is just another well-thought-out move in a run of smart choices. Now we come to a very important question. Marjorie seems like a victim, but is she really? Or is she just playing another game? The arrest of Diddy might have been the push she needed to make her move and protect her financial safety. This could be something she's been planning all along. Now that Steve's name is being linked to the mess, she's running away while she still can. A lot of people have said that she's been involved in shady things before. In her past, Marjorie Harvey has been linked to some pretty shady people. It seems like every time you turn around, a new story comes out about her that shows a more complicated side than the perfect society we've seen with Steve for 10 years. Let's look at Marjorie's past for a moment. She wasn't always living the fancy life we see on her Instagram, where she jets off to faraway places and hangs out with famous people. Marjorie was involved in some very bad things before she married Steve Harvey. She was married twice before to men who were deeply involved in illegal activities. Her image will always be tainted by their ties to those men. The first person on the list is her first husband, Jim Townsend, who was a key member of a big criminal group. He was given a life sentence, and Marjorie was never officially charged with anything wrong. However, rumors have been going around for a long time that she knew a lot more about how he ran his business than she told the police. Some even say that the police were putting together a case against her. Only because Townsend made a deal with the feds did she stay out of trouble with the law. He was freed after 26 years in prison. While he was in jail, Townsend allegedly started writing a book in which he tells everything about his life with Marjorie. He is said to have said that she wasn't just a spectator. Marjorie Townsend got a divorce from Jim Townsend before he had even finished 5 years of his sentence. The details of their relationship make me wonder what kind of life she was living at the time. That brings us to Diddy, who took a private jet yesterday and is going to the Cape Verde Islands. Also, don't forget about Marjorie's second husband, Donald Woods, who also had ties to doing illegal things. And Woods got in trouble with the law too, which makes Marjorie's past even more suspicious. It's clear that she's been involved with some very powerful guys who weren't always good. When we think about what's going on with Steve Harvey now, it's hard not to remember Marjorie's past and wonder if her intentions are really as good as they seem. Could it be that Marjorie routinely hangs out with men who like to live life quickly and then leaves when things go wrong? As more people start to see the links between her previous marriages and her current situation, this idea is really taking off. It seems like Marjorie is always in the middle of big problems, and the fact that she filed for divorce right after Diddy was arrested makes things even worse. Don't forget that Marjorie has been tied to Diddy before. A few years ago, it was said that Marjorie Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey, was dating Diddy. The press went crazy over the story. Lori, who was in her early 20s at the time, was seen hanging out with Diddy, which led to a lot of rumors that they were dating. It was even more shocking because Lori had been tied to Justin Combs, Diddy's son. Yes, Lori was said to have dated both the father and the son at different times, which made a lot of people curious about what Marjorie thought of the whole thing. But now things really start to get interesting. She didn't seem to mind that Lori was dating Diddy, even though the age difference and complicated family relationships were clearly causing trouble. Some reports even say that Marjorie encouraged the couple to be together. Take a moment to think about that. This woman, Marjorie Harvey, is now trying to separate herself from the problems caused by Diddy's arrest. It seems that she was fine with her daughter meeting the man who caused all this trouble. A good question is brought up. How much did Marjorie really know about how Diddy lived? Was she ignoring the signs that something was wrong? Naturally, these conspiracy ideas can get really hard to understand. On top of each other, they seem to never end. Steve Harvey is an easy person to blame and make guesses about his role in Diddy's wild parties. But the things Marjorie has done in the past don't exactly make her look good either. When Marjorie said it was okay for Lori to be with Diddy, did that mean she knew what was going on behind closed doors? If she knew, why didn't she step in to protect her daughter from what is now becoming clear to be a very bad situation? Some people think Marjorie may have filed for divorce without giving it much thought. It may have been less about avoiding Steve's possible scandal and more about protecting her own image. After all, Marjorie's reputation could take a big hit if more information about Diddy's parties comes out and it turns out she knew everything. She may be trying to get ahead of the story by filing for divorce now, making it look like she's cutting ties with Steve because of his participation, when she could have been just as involved with what was going on as he was. We also can't forget about the money side of things. Since she married Steve, Marjorie has been having a very nice life. With all the rumors about Diddy's arrest and the possible consequences for those who are connected to him, she's probably trying to protect her wealth before things get even worse. Is it possible for Marjorie to get a big chunk of Steve's wealth by asking for divorce? If so, she could avoid any legal problems that might come up. There are definitely some red flags about her because she has a history of siding with powerful guys who get into trouble. Is she really just trying to keep herself safe, or is there something more going on behind her sudden desire to cut ties with Steve? When we talk about Diddy, we should find out more about what's going on with him right now. His arrest has shocked people in the entertainment business. The accusations against him are completely false and shocking. It looks like Diddy's whole business is falling apart right in front of our eyes as news of his illegal activities and personal scandals spreads. What will he do next? What is going to happen to him? And how will this affect the people who have known him for a long time? A lot of experts have spoken out, and the news isn't good for Diddy. Many legal experts think there is strong evidence against him, and now that the FBI is involved, it's possible that more people will come forward with their own stories. As more victims and witnesses are questioned, Diddy's legal problems could get worse, which could bring in even more famous people. We also can't ignore the fact that Diddy could really suffer if he is found guilty. Because the charges against him are so serious, he could face a long time in jail. Being in jail could be a harsh wake-up call for someone who has spent decades living a nice life. Even though Diddy has always been the life of the party in the music business, that won't help him much in court. If the government is responsible for his health, they must also make sure he is safe while he is in jail. Things are at risk for more than just Diddy. As his legal problems get worse, they will probably affect all of his business partners, close friends, and other people who have been close to him over the years. Diddy's arrest could have effects on many people, and some of the biggest names in showbiz may be getting ready for the storm. People will start to doubt the connections they used to look up to as more information about his case comes to light. It's possible that what we thought we knew about these celebrities' glamorous lives was just a carefully put together front. The curtain is pulled back, leaving us to wonder how many more secrets are hidden in plain sight. The story is not over yet, that's for sure. With each new news story, the links between Diddy, Steve Harvey, Marjorie, and other people get more complicated. We can be sure that more names will be brought to light as the court drama goes on. Is Steve Harvey going to be okay after this? Or will something new bring him closer to Diddy's world? Are you sure Marjorie is a victim, or is she playing a trick to keep herself from having to deal with the consequences? What about Lori? When they were together, how much did she really know about Diddy's life? What does this mean for her further? Please tell us what you think in the space below. Do you think this story has more to it than we know? Enjoy your time, and we'll see you soon.